Hi there. Welcome back to the podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope everyone's having a great day, a great week, a great month. Yeah. So I was thinking about this the other day, and I thought it might be a good thing to talk about on here. It's related to my one horse that I've been struggling with and rebuilding our confidence and rebuilding our trust and, trying to build us back to this place that we used to be. And I was doing a lot of thinking about the mental aspect of competing and performance. And, again, like I always say, this podcast is not really about horses. It's really about how our minds work and how we navigate life and the world around us, and how we just try to be the best version, of ourselves, using our minds and being aware of how they work. And so that's where this whole thing is going. So, you don't need to have a horse that you're competing on to apply this to other places in your life. I mean, whether you're a fellow competitor, whether you're an athlete, whether it's in sports, or whether it's any other place in life, careers, jobs, relationships, something you're trying to improve, like maybe you're trying to get in better shape, maybe you're trying to lose weight, maybe you're trying to make a lifestyle change, like to be healthier and happier. We compete all the time in life. And like we compete with ourselves and against ourselves all the time in life. You're competing against other people for jobs and for career goals, and we're always in a state of competition with either other people or internally against ourselves, trying to better ourselves, trying to be better than we were yesterday, trying to be a better version of ourselves than we were yesterday. So you don't have to ride performance horses and compete on them across the country to need to understand why sports psychology has become such a talked about thing, and why it's important, and why it's applicable to all of us, even if we don't compete in sports. The mind is very powerful, and psychology of how people win and why some people excel more than others and how to be successful. When you read these books and when you hear people talk about the keys to success, 90% of it seems to come back one way or another to the mental component of it, the mental game, how we use our minds, how we think. And that's what I want to talk about on here, because I've noticed with my horse, Whiskey, like obviously, so, a couple of years ago, we ran into, a few years ago actually is when it started. Long story short, she had some soundness issues, which basically means she was having some pain because we had some stuff that we had to get corrected with her feet. But anyway, she was having a little bit of pain from that. It took us a little bit of while to, figure out what was going on. I think the pain from that kind of made her become anxious about making competitive runs. I think there were some holes in our training that I didn't recognize, and probably because she had been on and off because of these soundness issues. I really just didn't recognize where she was at with some of the fundamentals. Got her pain situation figured out, and then tried to put her back into barrel racing, and again, didn't really, this is on me, I didn't realize that she wasn't ready to jump back into it right away. And, I pushed her, put her back into it, pushed her, and she just fell apart on me. Not like physically fell apart, mentally fell apart on me, and we had some really nasty runs where, just unsafe, and she threw me off, and, just we just fell apart. So anyway, we've been working to rebuild, and went back to all the fundamentals, went back to all the basics, really have been taking my time and just trying to get her back into it physically and mentally. And now we're at a point where we're back entering races, and, I'm trying to just take it very cautiously and very slow, just because our trust and our confidence has been completely shattered. And both of us are nervous, and both of us are a little unsure, and both of us are struggling mentally, and both of us are feeding off of one another, right? So I'm just really trying to rebuild and, get us back to a place where we're trusting each other, we're confident in one another, we're confident in ourselves, and, we can just start putting more speed back on and, start getting back to a really good headspace. And what I realized the other day is I have not been practicing what I preach when it comes to how I am thinking about this horse and how I'm talking about this horse, and the mental game, the mental component, I've not been paying attention to, and I've not been doing very well. And I think that is something that I'm going to make a conscious decision to change and to focus on doing differently. This is the thing about the brain. When we talk to ourselves, or when we think about ourselves, the brain listens, right? And it's weird to talk about that, because it's like, okay, well, yeah, of course the brain knows what you're saying, because obviously your thoughts and what you verbalize comes from the mind. So yeah, like, it's a little weird to think about that, because it's like, okay, well, duh, obviously. But what we say, either aloud or in our heads to ourselves, our brains listen to. And there's different parts of the mind, and it's complex in how it works. And there's, the frontal cortex that is in charge of critical thinking and figuring out stuff and problem solving. And then there's another part of our mind that's more subconscious. It's there, and it determines and influences how we act and how we think and how we feel, and there's stuff buried there that really affects us. And we might not even consciously really be aware of it. So when we think about ourselves, when we think about what we are trying to do or accomplish, when we think about our image, whether we say it to ourselves or say it out loud, our mind is absorbing that. And what you tell yourself is what you're going to be. when I talk and when I think about this horse, I don't want to say I can't help it, because that is the point of this podcast, is figuring out, how to become aware of your mind, and then how to do the things you need to do to use it to the best of your ability and to make it work for you to the best of your ability. So I don't want to say I can't help it, because you can always help it. Sometimes it just takes hard work. But my natural tendency, that's the better way to say it, my natural tendency when I think about this horse is just for fear and doubt and, anxiousness, and all the negative things just come flooding in, because we've had those bad experiences. The most recent notable experiences imprinted in my mind when I think about making really aggressive runs on her competitively, the most recent imprinted experiences from that have been really bad and resulted in painful situations and fearful situations, and that is imprinted deeply in my mind. So when I think about getting back to really aggressive competing on her, it's just the natural tendency for me to go into self-doubt mode and to fear mode and to, oh my gosh, we're going to get hurt mode, and I'm scared to do this. That's where my mind wants to go. And that affects how I think and the things I say. So when I think about making a run on her, it's if I don't control my thoughts, the natural thoughts that want to come in is a bad run, oh, we're going to hit a barrel, she's going to bust me off, something bad's going to happen. That's the natural thought that comes in. And, then thoughts are one thing, but then if you're not careful, then they spill out to what you say. And I've caught myself saying to other people before, she's good, but I got to get her softer. I got to get her back into things. We've been having some issues. We've been having some troubles. And it's why am I saying all these negative things? My mind is listening when I say those things. So what I need to do is just completely flip the script on how I'm talking about her, how I'm thinking about us, and really just start to manifest and visualize the positive outcome that I want to happen and that I believe should happen and will happen, because we have put in the time and the work and the energy to get better. We've done the process. We're trusting the process. We're in the process. We're doing our stuff to prepare us to have a better outcome. And I need to trust in that. I need to believe that is going to result in a better outcome. So yes, we had a bad experience, but we have done the work. We have done the work and the preparation and done the correct things to now put us in a situation for a better experience, for a positive experience, and for good outcomes. And I need to start telling myself that, and I need to start thinking that, and I need to start visualizing that happening. And that will change the game. I believe that will change the game. And it's a simple thing. People talk about manifestation, they talk about visualization, but it is true. You have to say and you have to think the outcome that you want to manifest, because your mind is listening to whatever you're telling yourself, And what you tell yourself is going to be what inevitably happens. It is such a powerful thing, and it is so, in my opinion, it is so under-recognized and underutilized. But take notice of this in your own daily life. Like, how many times, just try to take notice of this and see, you might surprise yourself. Like, how many times do you do negative self-talk or negative self-thought? Like, how many times do you say, oh, I wish I could do X, Y, Z, but I can't. Or, oh, I could never do X, Y, Z. Or, oh, I would love to do that, but I probably won't be good enough. Like, how many times in your daily life, just your normal daily life, do you think about yourself in a negative way, or think that you're not good enough, or you're not smart enough, or you don't have the skill, or think to yourself, or even say aloud to yourself, oh, I would love to do this, or I would love to pursue that, or I would love to experience that, but I can't, or it won't happen for me, or I'm not good enough, or I don't have the resources, or, whatever. Like, how many times do you let those thoughts and those emotions and those feelings and those words trickle into your daily life? It is such an impactor on how your life turns out. And it's so important. And we are so bad at doing it. Like, we have self-doubt, and we do self-negative talk, and it negatively impacts the outcomes and the experiences that we're able to enjoy. So think about this a little bit, as you're thinking about the things that you want to make happen, the things that you want to come true in your life. Whether it be competing in sports, whether it be academia, whether it be with careers and job goals, whether it be in personal relationships or bettering your lifestyle. Maybe it's getting healthier. Maybe it's, getting in better shape. Like, maybe it's cutting out a bad habit that you have, or, getting your house, like, to a cleaner level that you enjoy, or, whatever it is that if you think in your day-to-day life, oh, that's something that would make me happier, or that's something that, I wish I had in my life. Talk yourself into it. Like, tell yourself you can have it. Tell yourself you can do it. Know that you are capable. Know that you, with the right effort and the right preparation and the right work, you can accomplish that thing. And, tell yourself that, and think it, and manifest it, and visualize it. And, we can't control the thoughts necessarily that pop into our mind, because those just come. Like, you can't monitor every thought that you have. But when those thoughts of negativity and self-doubt do pop in, just be aware they're there, and then change them. Be like, no, I'm not thinking that way. I'm going to replace that thought with a different thought. If the thought pops into my head of me running my horse and smashing into a barrel, I'm going to immediately be like, nope, we're changing that thought, and I'm going to visualize a good run, a clean run, one where she's responding to me, listening to me, everything's going right. And something, we have to believe we are capable, and we have to believe we are worthy, and we have to believe that we can do it. And part of the process for that is to tell ourselves and to think it and to visualize it and to manifest it. You know, when we see people that have a lot of confidence, or at least I can only speak for myself, but often I see people that have a lot of confidence, or, you know, from the outside looking in, seem to have a lot of confidence, and I just think, wow, I can't wait to be at that place where, you know, I'm not nervous anymore, where I'm confident. And again, speaking about the horse racing specifically, you know, you see these people that, to me, just look fearless. Like they go out there and they're like just so confident at what they do. Meanwhile, you know, me here, on the other hand, like I still get scared, I still get anxious, I still get nervous. And I mean, some of these people, you know, some of these people have been doing this their whole life, and you know, I just got into it a handful of years ago. So I mean, they have definitely more experience than I do, but it's not like I just jumped into this yesterday. I mean, I've been doing it for years now. I've hauled my horses all over the country. Like we've made runs in lots of different places, lots of different arenas. Like we've had a lot of experiences. So, you know, I'm not like a spring chicken, like just doing it for the first time. Like you would think at some point it would get easier to just naturally be confident in your abilities and your skills, and you know, able to go out there and do it fearless. But that hasn't happened, you know, yet for me. Like it's still nerve wracking, it's still scary, you know, it's still anxiety provoking, and I have to mentally control that, and I have to mentally manifest the confidence to do it. And I thought that was, for a long time, I thought that was just because I didn't have all the experience, or I just was a nervous Nelly or whatever. But actually, when you read or listen to people talk, you know, like for example, other professional barrel racers that have been competing at a high level for decades even, you know, they say that they still get scared, that they still get nervous, that they still have to talk themselves into a confident headspace. They still have to work on their mental game too. So the point of saying all that is, you know, you don't, I don't think that people just reach points where they are confident and fearless, you know, no matter what. Like, I think when things are scary, even when you're good at them, even when you've done them for a long time, they can still be scary. And when I talk about doing the barrel racing run, you know, I took my horse the other day, and she had a really great run. You know, like she listened to me. It was a good run, and I should be like flying on cloud nine, right? I should be like, okay, well now we can go make the next one, and I'm not worried about it because we had a good run under our belt. But that's not the way it works. Like, as soon as you have that great emotion, like when you make the run, you have that great emotion of like, yes, I nailed it, we did good, and you have that emotional high, and you're happy about it. But it starts to fade really quick. Like, I mean, as soon as you're in the truck driving home, it starts to fade, and self-doubt starts to creep in again, and you start to, the natural tendency is to start to like doubt the experience you just had. It's like the natural tendency is for thoughts to creep in that say, oh, well, you just got lucky, like you won't have that run again, or you start to like micro pick anything that could be better and be like, well, see, like that wasn't good, and like that's probably gonna be worse and come back to haunt you the next time. And I mean, literally within the truck ride home, after a good outing and at the competition, within the truck ride home, the self doubt and the negative talk will start to try to creep its way in if you don't consciously be aware of it and make an effort to stop it. Like the brain, the imprinting from experiences in the brain shape how we will perform the next time, how we perform tomorrow, next week, next month. So you have to be so vigilant on making sure that what your brain is thinking and feeling and telling yourself and what you're telling yourself, it has to be aligned with what you want the outcome to be. So give that, some food for thought as you go throughout your day. Again, just take note of how many times, just on a normal day, that self-doubt and negative talk might creep in to your thoughts and to what you say to yourself and to others around you. And just become vigilant about making a change to that. Like flip the script on that when you feel that self-doubt and those fear thoughts and those anxious thoughts, like when those pop in, change them to manifesting what you actually want and what you really in your heart need to believe you can accomplish and you deserve if you put in the appropriate work and the appropriate preparation to excel at that thing. All right, I hope everyone has, a great rest of their day and week, and hope to have you tune back in again soon. All right, thanks so much. Talk later.